Hi, I'm Dom and welcome back to the Clown's Pocket. Now, for decades, pocket knives and multi-tools have generally worked in much the same way. The manufacturer decides which implements you're going to carry, you decide whether you like that selection, and then you buy it, or you don't. Now, that's worked pretty well for a very long time, and I chose some of my favourite multi-tools exactly like that. But today I'd like to show you something that approaches the problem from an entirely different direction. This is the Roxon Flex Companion. Now, on the face of it, it's a modular pocket knife, but actually it's a lot more interesting than that, because it doesn't ask which knife would you like to carry, it asks what do you actually need on your knife today. And that is an important and very tradition-breaking distinction. By the end of this video, I hope you'll see why the Flex Companion isn't just another pocket knife. It's part of a very clever modular ecosystem that lets you either build the knife you need for today's job or complement the tools you're already carrying by filling in the gaps. Before we look at the Companion itself, it's worth taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture, because the Flex Companion isn't a standalone idea. It's part of Roxon Flex's ecosystem. Each of these products approaches a slightly different job. The Flex Plier is your full-size modular multi-tool. The Companion is a modular pocket knife. The Mini Companion is a compact companion, well, companion to the Companion. Then you have the Titan, a larger, heavier duty sibling to the Flex Plier. And Roxon have even introduced modular shears into the same family. Now, I'm not reviewing all of these today. The important thing is that they're all based around the same philosophy. The implements become part of the system, not permanently attached to one tool. Since the Flex system came out, I've found myself thinking about multi-tools in terms of two ideas. The first is something I call functional density. That is how much functionality can you squeeze into a given size or weight. Some traditional plier-based tools are very good at that, and some Swiss Army knives are brilliant at that. But the Flex system introduces another, newer idea, one I call configurational or modular flexibility. Not how many functions a tool has, but how easily you can change those functions to suit what you're actually doing in the moment. And throughout this video, those two concepts will crop up a few times. So let's have a look at how the system actually works. Now, rather than giving you one fixed set of implements, Roxon gives you access to a growing range of interchangeable ones. We've now got over 40 different implements available. There are blades, there are saws, we have files, scissors, T-shank adapters, magnetic pickup tools, and even a comb. Now, obviously, I'm not going to review 40 implements today. That isn't really the point. The point is that you get to decide which combination best suits what you're planning to do. One thing that's worth understanding is that these implements aren't all the same thickness. Some occupy one slot, others take two, some take three, some even take four. The Companion itself has room for 5 2mm slots. So choosing your loadout becomes a little bit like prepping a race car, where every component has to earn its spot. In terms of size and weight, the Flex Companion is in the same ballpark as a 4-layer Swiss Army knife, like the Victorinox Explorer. The Flex Companion is about 89mm when closed, weighs about 125 grams depending on the loadout, and occupies about as much pocket space as one of these. But even on its best day, it carries about half as many implements. So what's so special about it? For a start, it's that these slots aren't permanently filled at the factory. With the Explorer, Victorinox decides what lives inside the knife. With the Companion, you do. Functional density, configurational flexibility. Two similar sized pocket knives built around two completely different philosophies. There is one important limitation, and that is length. The Companion is capable of accepting up to 5 long implements. That's actually one advantage it has over the plier-based Flex platform, which is limited to only one long implement in each handle, so 2 in all. So that's the basic system. Different implements, different thicknesses, and a finite number of slots to work with. But listing the possibilities only gets us so far. The more useful question is what anyone would actually put in it on a particular day and why. And would that same setup still apply tomorrow? Changing implements couldn't really be much simpler. You unlock the slider, you pop the implement that you want to change, you slide the retainer back, remove the implement, install another, push the lock back to the center point, and there you have it. One thing I particularly like is that changing implements doesn't require special tools. It's quick, it's straightforward, and after you've done it a couple of times, it becomes second nature. Now, unlike a traditional Swiss Army knife, each implement is secured with a lock upon deployment, and you just push this retainer partially across to unlock again. Another permanent feature is this 1/4-inch magnetic bit driver, and no matter how you configure the Companion, this always remains available. But that raises an interesting question. If a pocket knife doesn't actually include a knife blade, is it still a pocket knife, or has it become something else entirely? Was it actually a screwdriver-based tool in disguise all along, quietly infiltrating pocket knife territory? Who knows? Who cares? Let's move on. Another nice touch, this pivot is adjustable via the Torx screws. Now, if you want an easier one-hand deployment of the D2 blade, or perhaps you'd simply like a little more resistance, you can tune them exactly as you prefer, which isn't something most pocket knives will let you get away with. Mechanically then, it's all rather impressive. But what really matters is what it allows the user to do, and that's where it starts breaking new ground. So let's see it in practice with a scenario-based build. Alright, enough theory. Let's imagine I'm going away on a week-long camping trip, and let's build the Companion around that. I'm not going to build a log cabin, but I might need a lean-to shelter. I want a windbreak for my campfire and a 3-branch tripod hanging over the campfire for my cooking pot. I'll need a tool for typical jobs around a camp. Food prep, cutting and tying rope, sawing branches, etc. So, which implements are most likely to earn their place on this particular trip? Let's start with the obvious one, the D2 blade. Now, this is likely to become the most frequently used implement on the whole knife for cutting food, opening packaging, whittling feather sticks, and a load more. Next, the wood saw. I'll need to saw some branches into staves for a windbreak. And if I need to build a lean-to, then I'll need a lot more. Next, the serrated blade. This one is all about rope. I'd much rather have a serrated edge than a plain blade for any thick fibrous materials. Next, the eagle's claw. Let's say I'm in a country where can ring pulls aren't the norm. I'm going to want a decent combo can and bottle opener. And this eagle's claw is just the ticket. And then lastly, the awl. I'll need this to start holes in wood before driving in a peg or pulling cords through or whatever. And then once these are all in, I just tighten this back up to my liking, and there we go. So what about the implements that didn't go straight into the Companion but could come in handy while camping? Well, those can simply stay in their plastic packets, go into your rucksack, and then you swap them in and out as and when required. But if you happen to own the Mini Companion as well, or some other platform in the Flex line, there's other options. Now, this isn't a review of the Mini Flex Companion, I'll do that on another day. But instead of carrying those spare implements loose or in their plastic carriers, you could build yourself a second supporting tool. Alright, so first off, the scissors. These could be useful for cutting fishing line or fabrics or thread if I'm repairing clothing. Next up, the chisel. So this might be useful. Most of the jobs I'd use it for can also be managed with one of the knife blades. So I'm happy for it to live on the Mini. And then finally, the marlin spike. This one's a little different. While the camp is up, I probably won't need it very often, but after a week with rope knots under tension, it's exactly the tool I want for dismantle everything. When it's time to recover ropes and cordage, I'd simply move it across onto the main companion. So this actually occupies 2 slots, so I need 2 slots free on here. Removed the awl and the eagle's claw. And there we go. I now have the marlin spike moved from the mini companion onto the main companion. The longer handle is going to give me better grip and better leverage, and that's really what configurational flexibility is all about. The task list has changed, so the loadout changes with it. Of course, I might also decide to carry a proper fixed blade like this one I got from my father-in-law, or my dad's old scout knife from back from the 1950s when he was a lad. So then I wouldn't really need the D2 blade so much on the companion and can put something else in its slot. That's the advantage of the system. You don't have to carry the same tools simply because that's how the manufacturer assembled it. And I think Roxon chose the name very well. It's the Flex Companion. And as dance partners go, it's not particularly fussy. So perhaps you're already carrying a Leatherman Wave Plus, but you want to add a T-shank adapter or another specialist tool, or a 91mm Victorinox, and you really want to add a serrated blade. Or perhaps you're carrying something much smaller and occasionally you need a proper wood saw. Now, this isn't trying to replace your favourite multi-tool in this instance. It's simply trying to fill in whatever your favourite multi-tool happens to be missing. Now, the modular implements aren't the only tools here. The companion also has a fixed inline 1/4-inch magnetic bit driver with a liner lock, and this accepts standard hex bits. And that means you can also use adapters to get into standard 4mm bits. Anyway, no matter how I configure these 5 slots, I still have a screwdriver available. And tucked into the scales on newer companion scales at least, there's a toothpick and a set of tweezers. Now, this is from the first batch of companions that came out, and the other difference with newer models is with the locking symbols. This one shows a locked and unlocked padlock, which is hard to see with naked 50-plus-year-old eyes, as opposed to this clearer red and green stop-go signal, which is on all newer locks across all Flex platforms. Now, the scales themselves are made from G10, which is a layered glass fiber and resin composite commonly used for knife handles. It's tough, it's resistant to moisture, and it gives the companion a more substantial feel than ordinary molded plastic. And then there's also a nice deep pocket clip, so even before choosing the modular implement, there's some nice stuff around the frames. If you're in the United States, you can buy the companion and individual implements directly from Roxon. Outside the US, availability tends to be through Amazon or through AliExpress. And one thing worth checking is how the implements are packaged. Roxon tends to sell them individually, while Amazon usually bundles them into packs of 3. I'll put some relevant links in the description and pinned comment. The Amazon links may be affiliate links, so purchases made through those help support the channel at no additional cost to you. At the time of recording, I don't have an affiliate link for Roxon purchases made directly from Roxon's website, but if that changes, I'll add them to the comments and description. Traditional pocket knives offer functional density, a carefully selected collection of tools packed into one handle. The Flex Companion offers something different, configurational flexibility. It can become a camping knife, an urban tool, a workshop companion, or simply an extension to a multi-tool you're already carrying. It doesn't tell you which tools you ought to carry, it lets you decide which tools you need for the day ahead. And personally, I like having new options and new ways to think about pocket knives. That's all we've got time for today on the Clown's Pocket. As ever, thank you very much for your time and watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, please like, share and subscribe. I have a couple of videos bubbling away in the pot right now, and honestly, I don't know which one's going to come to the boil first. So that's all the more reason to subscribe for a heads up when they drop. So again, thanks very much for watching, all the best, and I'll see you again.